Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Our first IG Live in a very long time. My name is Claudia Holzner, 2020 Olympian in artistic swimming, multiple CAN Fund 150 Women recipient, and also a CAN Fund 150 Women member. And I'm thrilled to be your host today. We are setting up, here we are, with a special guest today. So I'll do a quick introduction. Today is International Women's Day, which serves as an opportunity to highlight and reflect upon the status of progress made towards achieving gender equality. On August 9th, 2012, at the Games in London, our women's soccer team won the hearts of all Canadians when they defeated France 1-0 to win the Olympic bronze medal, becoming the first team since 1936 to win an Olympic medal for Canada at the Summer Games. Our special guest today is goalkeeper Erin McLeod, and we'll welcome her to the stage today. There we go. All right.
Hi,
Hello. Welcome, Erin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How is Iceland?
It's it's great. It's a little chilly. We trained outside this week, and I thought, oh my God, I definitely felt my age this week. So,
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
but totally gorgeous. So you kind of have to take the cold weather with the beauty.
Yeah, it is a beautiful country. One of my favorite places to travel. So cool.
Yeah, it's
Awesome. So let's get started. We have a couple questions for you today. Hopefully they're fun and interesting. I'm sure they will be. Um, so goalkeepers have to be really mentally tough. I imagine when a goal is scored, you kind of have to stay on top of your game and really get back into your mental state. So what's it like being in the net for Canada?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So, I do think it is really challenging, of course, when you're a goalkeeper and if you get scored on and to be in the present moment. But I think I'm actually really grateful for the position that I play because I do a lot of work in mindfulness and how to be in the present moment. And it's really powerful in sport, but it's also like very, and you would know, very powerful in life. So I kind of learned leading up to, I know you talked about the London Olympics, leading up to those games, we worked with Dr. Kerry Evans, who's a total boss, works with the New Zealand All Blacks. And he taught me a few different breathing techniques actually, just to get in the moment. And one thing that I think is so valuable is your body is always in the present moment. And so somehow connecting with one of your senses to be in the moment for me was really, really powerful. So it's something that I use then. It's something when I use when I get scored on. Of course, when you get scored on is nothing you can do about it. There are worldies every once in a while that are scored. That is kind of easier to move forward, but I think being in the present kind of eliminates that rumination about the past and enables you really to be better in the moment.
Mm-hmm. It's such an incredible thing, even going beyond sport, like you said, kind of into retirement for some athletes. Maybe it's moving into a new situation. So very cool that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I think it's like I do think, and again, you would know, like as athletes, sport is this wonderful vehicle. We get a trial and error, and we got to do it kind of at a faster rate, because we got to. How am I going to talk to myself when I make a mistake today? I want to be more forgiving, and you're going to. It's inevitable. Make a mistake. I don't know how many times in your training or whatever you're doing. So I feel really fortunate in that sense now that I'm kind of transitioning to a new job and different things, and how I can apply that somewhere else.
Amazing. So what does the support of CAN Fund mean to you, and how did it help you throughout your career?
Yeah, I think CAN Fund is amazing, and I know that we've come a really long way as Canadians and athletes as far as financial support. But I do know that a few times in my career, I was worried about like my next paycheck or if I was going to have enough money to make ends meet. I I'll never forget, I was going through an ACL recovery, and I was living in Canada at the time, and I was walking down the grocery store aisles, and I was picking up like cans of beans, and I had to put like the Heinz back because the no name was cheaper. And it was like a tough moment in my life, but it also was like when I got that check from CAN Fund, I was like, oh my God, I can just focus on my dream. And I feel lucky that I've been able to do that for so long, but that was kind of like that relief moment, like that breath of fresh air. And I think especially when it comes to like the 150 women, like women empowering other women. It is International Women's Day, and I think there's so much merit in that. I think what I love about being a female athlete is as women and gender diverse people, we tend to really like build one another up, and it's this community of like love and abundance, and to feel that support for me was game changing.
Wow, that was beautiful. I love that.
Thank
Love
you.
that response. So in honor of International Women's Day, tell us about the women who have supported you throughout your journey.
Oh goodness. I may cry right on. I've been really fortunate. Both of my grandmothers are like just bad at, I don't know if I can swear on this, but really awesome people. And my one grandmother passed away at 97, but she was like doing stairs every day, and she was doing her abs, and and then my other grandma, who's just like will kill you with her kindness. She's got a heart of gold, and I think from both of them, that's trickled down throughout our family. Family is so important to me, and I think my mom has always been such a hard worker, and both my sisters, bless them, being the sisters of an athlete who just like never gets enough. And I could just picture, my little sister like chasing balls. She was like, she'd get the ball, throw it back to me, get the ball, and like I would do that forever. And both of my sisters in my career have just been around the world, like my parents. And then, of course, like my dad, which is cool. And I think just as important, especially with men, to support women and see in them that they can be anything that they want. And I have always had that support from my dad. And I think that's such an important message. So I just feel grateful that I've had such strong women, but then also such a strong man to also believe that.
Yeah, you have such an epic support system. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So on top of being an Olympic soccer goalie, you are an artist, a musician, an entrepreneur. So how are you able to balance all of your passions while also being on the national team?
Well, I mean, now I'm newly retired, but when I was with the national team, it's a lot. And I think what I'm actually really grateful for is when I was in university, I was also playing with the national team, and I kind of got a very quick learning about time management. And one area that I can still do a little bit better is like, sitting down and going over priorities, because I'm someone that I just want to do it all. And
Me too, man. Me too.
So many hours in the day, and there's, and everyone keeps telling me I'm going to burn out, and I'm like, is it going to be today? Or, but like passion is a driver, and it's also a good like gauge, if you're like, if it's not something that's waking you up in the morning and it used to, then it's about kind of finding the balance. And I think as an athlete, what I got in the trap of is being stuck in one identity and just being an athlete. And I think what's really, really important is, first of all, acknowledging all the different roles that you have, and the importance of those roles. So if I want to be a really good partner, and I'm doing this and kind of burning the candle at this end, and not putting enough time into my partner, then maybe it's time to kind of recalibrate, refocus. Or if I'm feeling physically worn down, or, maybe that's time to put a bit more into my self-love and into my mindfulness practice, or whatever that looks like for different people. But I think, yeah, understanding, like being in touch with yourself. But then I also think like sleep and recovery and, all those things, whether you're an athlete or not, are really, really important. And I think I'm getting better at is saying no. Recognizing boundaries is really, really important. And, I'm navigating, I'm in Iceland, so like the time change is a bit weird because I'm doing like a lot of work in Halifax right now. And I think, I've read endless books about how to be successful, but a lot of them say kind of like choose a time in the day where you're done.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's also like powerful, if it's 8 p.m. or if it's dinner time, and then you get to shut down. So then you work more efficiently, harder, and then you're like, yes, you get your time out.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely interesting as a retired athlete, hey? Like it changes completely. You go from like having a set program every single day to having no idea what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very different.
Your meals, right? It's like 9 a.m. you eat, and then from 11 to 12 you've got a break. And it's also navigating how to schedule appropriately.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Halifax, so I'm gonna
Yes.
come back to my next question. But yesterday you announced that you're the new equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility consultant with Halifax City Soccer Club. So that's huge. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you want to share a little bit about your new role?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have become more of an activist over the last few years, and I absolutely love coaching and connecting with young people, and the young people are really the future. And for me, and one of the reasons I really wanted to get involved with this is there was a moment playing for the national team when John Herdman addressed us as a group. And at the time I was grappling with coming out as an athlete, although everyone jokes that they knew that I was gay before I was. But anyway, so I'm debating like coming out, and John said, like, if you want to bring your partners to the game, or if you want to bring your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or and he kind of identified not just like men being our partners. And it was a moment for me that I felt seen and included. And I know that's coming from like, a white cisgender person, but, for the first time I was like, wow, there's power in that. And I've never forgotten that feeling. And since then, there's been tremendous movement in sport. I love sport for that reason, for a lot of social justice causes. It's a place to be able to make your mark in a statement. And so kind of along the same vein, I want it to be, and passionate about. I wake up in the morning excited to think of a culture in sport that is inclusive, diverse, all those things, accessible, and coaches being aware of it, young people being aware of it. And that for me is really powerful. And that's kind of the conversation. I said that this is what I want to do. And Kieran Collins, the director of soccer at Halifax City Soccer, was like, let's do it. And so I'm so pumped. I'm learning. There's so much information out there right now for coaches, for staff, from safe sport to how to be anti-racist, all these like wonderful things. And so I'm learning and producing content, and it's just a really exciting time.
Yeah, that's definitely a conversation that needs to be had for sure, especially between like dynamics, coaches, athletes. Everybody needs to be really educated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's great. So you also have a solo art exhibit at the Jane Roos Gallery in Toronto. So can you please tell me a little bit about your art and what inspired it?
It was a while ago. It was it was after the London Olympics, and that was such a fantastic experience. Jane Roos is a total boss. And to be able to have we sold it out. It was crazy. But the inspiration behind my art is, so I'm kind of old school. I love like just pencil drawings and classic art, but I also love street art and activism. And so it's kind of this melange, a little blend of all those things. And then on top of that, a lot of my work is about like self-worth and finding myself. And as athletes, and that's another, using sport as a vehicle, you're constantly evolving as a person, and in life, you know, you kind of your new skin constantly. So it's a combination of all those things.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So CAN Fund 150 Women has helped 556 female athletes now, and we're counting. You know, it's definitely going to be more, hopefully, but it's $6,000, and now we've just increased it to $8,000 this year. So the mantra is "Be Epic." So we wanted to know what "Be Epic" means to you.
Oh, yeah, So I saw this. I don't know how to have like short answers, so I'm sorry if that's what you were hoping for today.
No, you're good. This is great.
Awesome TED Talk, and this woman talks about how like young girls outperform young boys in like math and science and everything when they're young. But then as they get older, if the man and the woman were applying for the same job, a man would apply for, even if he only had 60% of the qualifications, he would apply for the job. And women, in general, only apply if they have 100% of the qualifications. And for me, because it's International Women's Day, like the whole theme is like, let's stop telling our girls to be perfect. Let's encourage them to be brave. And for me, that's what being epic is bravery and accepting like defeat and failure. This is part of it, right? Like you only learn from the hard stuff. So my challenge is like being epic also means like the self-compassion and love has to be there, because we often focus on, oh, I messed up, instead of recognizing that bravery piece. Like, I put myself out on a limb. We're often doing something for the first time that we've never done before. It's such a vulnerable thing, right? So how can we like own it, practice self-compassion, be brave, and go and take chances, you know, like see what you are capable of. And the only way you do that is really to go out on a limb.
Oh, speechless. That's so nice. Like, and it's so many people are going through this right now. So I think like it resonates with me. So I hope it resonates with so many other people. Amazing. Thank you. So another question, you co-founded a podcast called The Mindful Project with the goal of empowering people to reach their potential. Can you tell us a little bit about your podcast and why you started it?
Yeah, so I actually used to have a podcast called Three Sides, which I don't, speaking of having too many hats, I ran out of time. But then also in 2000, we just celebrated a 4-year celebration. My business partner, Dr. Rachel Linval, and I created the Mindful Project, which it lives totally online. You can check us out at themindfulproject.us. And essentially it's a personal development course paired with mindfulness practice. And we work with a lot of high-level athletes. We've been really fortunate to work with a lot of like NCAA Division I different sports teams. We just started working with a corporate program where some of our benefits, like we're decreasing anxiety for our members by 50%. Like it's really powerful and rewarding stuff. And really, at the end of the day, it came down to recognizing that I really suffered from performance anxiety, and that I had a lot of challenges, as I said, like being in the moment. And of course, anxiety and stress comes from when we are outside of the moment. So that was kind of like the birthplace of mindfulness in my life. And then when I met with Dr. Rachel Linval, we always joke, we were like in the middle of Germany having a fantastic Thai food meal, and that's how memorable the Thai food was. But we were just chatting back and forth for hours. And, you know, with her research being in mindfulness, and I was like, we have to do something with this. Like if I knew that all the stuff that was happening to me when I was playing games was performance anxiety, and that all I had to do was like work on my breathing, like how different, and not just like from a performance standpoint, because I think that's important, but I also think from a fulfillment standpoint, like loving what I do and enjoying it. And kind of the rest is history. We work like crazy people, and we put it online, and now we have multiple programs, and it's something that we're both very, very proud of.
That's amazing. I'm definitely going to be checking that out. So you also coach a soccer group in Iceland. I'm assuming this is why you're in Iceland right now,
So
or it's a little bit of a mix.
my partner is Icelandic, and
Okay.
yeah, so she is one of the reasons I'm here. No, the big reason why I'm here. And I also play professionally for, we both do, for Stagnan, which is a club here. So the program I'm speaking about is we coach Wednesdays and Sundays, sorry, young soccer players with intellectual disabilities. And it's something, when I was in Orlando, we were really lucky to be part of, it's called Excellent program. And essentially, we worked with young, fantastic soccer players that are high functioning autistic. And it was, for me, it was eye-opening and rewarding. At the end of the day, being a good coach is catering to individual needs, and kind of understanding to be, you have a different lens. How do you make sport more accessible? How do you make sport more inclusive? And so all of this has kind of played a part in my personal journey, which I'm really fortunate for. And I think these kind of programs need to exist. We need to have them more often, and to really make sure that everyone is a thought and considered when we're creating sport environments.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So since a young age, you've traveled all over the world, spending time in Jakarta as a high school student, which is incredible, attending Penn State and Southern Methodist University, and playing soccer in Vancouver, Houston, Chicago, Orlando, Sweden, and now Iceland, just to name a few. So how do you stay connected to home when you're away for most of the year, I assume?
Yeah, so I FaceTime my family. I'm so grateful that technology is where it is now, because it just makes it a lot easier. I constantly send my sisters like little reels that I think are hilarious. Whether they think it's funny or not, I'm not sure. I follow a lot of like dad joke programs, and I'm constantly sending those. So humor is one way that I connect, but yeah, just making an effort. It's cool in this that like family means a lot to me, and I feel more grounded when I connect with them. Almost feel like physically feel like when I need to just kind of connect with my people. So very lucky to have that support network, and really lucky that technology is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Do you have an opportunity to come home often, or not so much?
Not really. My wonderful family has also traveled to all of those places that you've mentioned. And so now I'm trying to convince them to come to Iceland, which is not the hardest thing to do because it's so beautiful. But yeah, it's still a little bit tricky with, I'm still playing, as an athlete, like your schedule is limiting. You have weird pockets of free time. But anyway, I don't get to see them as often as I would like, but I still we make as much of an effort as we can to connect.
Of course. So do you have a special memory from your international soccer career that you would like to share?
Oh gosh. Yes, I think I know a lot of people always kind of think about the field and like big moments. I know you mentioned the first medal we'd won since 1936, which is like, it's still crazy when you say that out loud. But I think for me, a really cool moment was the Sochi Olympics was devastating, I think, for a lot of athletes in the queer community, because there was no like homosexual propaganda allowed, and there was no shows of affection, and there was a lot of rules around that, and it was really disturbing and upsetting. And I think Anastasia was the only out athlete at that games for Canada, and heroic really on her part. And afterwards I finally was like, I think maybe it's a time to come out, and so that eventually we don't have have this conversation, you know, like you sit down your parents. And so that was kind of the beginning of that. But long story short, eventually I joined the Athletes Commission, the Olympic Athletes Commission with Erin McLeod. And together, I'll never forget the phone call. I was in the middle of Toronto on my cell phone, and we're both of us talking to the Canadian Olympic Committee, and we added sexual orientation to the Olympic Charter of Rights. And I think for me, that was, again, kind of a moment where I thought, you know, we can really make a difference as athletes, and kind of, instead of, you know, you are a role model as an athlete in general, but to kind of choose that path and to make the most of that path, I think is another conversation. And I think in that moment I realized it was kind of the beginning of a lot of great things that not just myself, but because of what our team had done, and like using that platform to make really important change.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes towards the future as, you know, people get more educated. I think it's getting better, but definitely still is something that everybody needs to understand a little bit more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is the next chapter for you?
Well, the Halifax City Soccer Club, that's really, something I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping to play another season if my body holds up. I still love doing that. And I mean, I think just trying to be in one spot for a while will actually be quite nice. You know, even when I was playing in Orlando, we were traveling across the country every weekend, and it's nice because all of our games are basically around Reykjavik. So just to be in one spot and to spend time with my wife. We're waiting to get our dog over here because there's a lot of rules in Iceland around animals. So we'll be united, and just continuing the work that I'm doing. And I'm just, really excited for this next chapter. Wow.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was incredible, an incredible interview, and everybody in the comments was saying that as well. So I'll do just a little outro. So CAN Fund 150 Women's 5th birthday goal is to reach 10,000 members by May 1st. Big goal. So to help more athletes be able to achieve their dreams and be the best female athletes that they can possibly be, become a CAN Fund 150 woman by donating $150 or more in support of them. And you'll receive a tax receipt and find out which female athlete you supported. So for those watching, the donation link is in the bio up there. Up there. So thanks again, Erin. This was incredible. It was so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much.
Happy International Women's Day, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.